Abusuya mama kwa basronko so the Ghana politics avenue so abusuya muma yembo nra yensemu. Abusuya be breaking wa emre bi mamo e political headline so say eye Asante Achem North MP city MP a ye friend no Ohene Kwame Frimpong a omo detain no eye Amsterdam because of eye money laundry any fraud bi a okoye anything no. Abusuya since that time no eye speaker Bagbin dey abeto just say since that time no enya dia wa appear e parliament omo tenase wo parliament bia na ni seat no empty a oye absent from a year parliament no ebusuan sisi asema abeto dwa speaker da abeto dwa ne sisi say omo ma no up to a year 15 days say wamba anase wantro any permission letter bi amfa parliament wo na omo be ye ne seat no a year vacancy omo beto abafo fro MP foforo wo Asante Achem North nti no say otro permission edeba say watu kwan anase bibi say nesi no up to that time no on chop permission letter by say watu kwan anase bibi say no say omo man some days bi say wan chop permission amba ombeye ni seat no vacancy ebuso mu mienko tie nsem bi a e kan wo ye ba e didi aka ebeto abso.
On May 12th, 2026. A day after that, Parliament acknowledged the arrest, and in fact, on that Facebook post to announce the acknowledgement of the arrest, they said they were assisted with authorities in Netherlands based on some things that had been asked for in reference to the MP in question. Now, when you look at the data that Christian has shared with us, a month after that, when Parliament resumed on the 21st of May, of course, he wasn't there, he was in the cooler in the Netherlands because he had been arrested about 10 or 12 days earlier, right? So a month after his arrest, days from the 21st to the 12th of June, he was marked absent because he wasn't in this country, he still isn't in this country, and there was no way that he could have anybody thought of writing to the Speaker of Parliament about his absence. Now, it also tells you that the fact that Parliament had acknowledged the arrest did not mean that he had sought permission. 11 days into his arrest, 11 days into parliamentary sittings, right? Then it comes, the absent with permission. So we see that on the 16th of June, 2026, that he had now been marked absent with permission. It could have been his office writing to the chief whip of the majority side because he caucuses with the majority side. It could be a number of things that have happened. It could be that his office wrote to the clerk and then it went to the speaker. We do not know how that happened as of now, but we can talk about it. I'll bring in now Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, political analyst, executive director of the Africa Institute. Let me get that right. I do not want, well, thank you. Africa Institute of Strategic Studies. Doc, I did my best. I also have Professor Smart Sapon, political analyst, on this matter of very, immense importance to the atmosphere we have in this country. I'll start off with you, Prof. What do you think could be going on now?
Well, yeah, so in my view, there are still some things we need to clear, especially if Parliament can, once it is an issue of national interest, I was expecting that Parliament would issue a certain position on it. If not for your sharp reporter from Parliament, some of us were in doubt as to what was going to happen after the 15 days elapsed. Now we know that there's been some form of permission. But there are standing orders, and the Constitution also makes it imperative that the permission must be in writing. So my question would be that did the MP, wherever he is, get the opportunity to write a permission himself and submitted same to the Speaker, and therefore the new change in his absent status, absent with permission? Because the position of the Constitution 97.1 it's not just, securing permission, but a written permission. And under the circumstances, I would have wished to know from Parliament if he had the opportunity to write and send his handwritten or personally written permission so that we can satisfy fully the provision of the Constitution in respect of being absent with permission so that he can exceed the 15 days. But, Parliament has been the master of its own self.
Absolutely.
We have a very recent case of, not too recent though, Adwoa Safo when he was absent and all those things. A lot of these discussions were raised. But Parliament then, I think the 8th Parliament, found a way to secure her seat for her for the number of months she was absent. So,
do you think then, Prof, that we may be seeing a repeat of that, or really there are germane reasons why we should take this at face value?
In fact, I'm mentioning the case of Adwoa Safo because from where I sit, I see us traveling a very long journey on this matter, similar to what happened under Adwoa Safo. Fortunately for the MP for Asante Achim North, he is affiliated to the majority caucus who would want to at all times protect him. And so he is partially safe, just as Adwoa Safo was also affiliated to the majority side,
Indeed,
which protected her. Because else anyway, still the issue is under the hands of the investigators and all those things. But we are told yesterday that extradition was underway, so he's moved from where he is now to the United States.
And that's the thing, Prof. There isn't official communication, whether from Ghanaian authorities, U.S. authorities, or authorities in the Netherlands surrounding this. So there's a lot of speculation. Unfortunately, yes. No proper reportage from traditional news media, except for what people write on social media, and that's the most disturbing part of reporting on this matter.
And Kamini, this is a member of Parliament we are talking about, not an ordinary.
Absolutely.
So we deserve to have officials giving us updates.
Very well.
We are all extremely concerned. Yeah.
I'll move on to Doc now. Again, Doc, you have the last word on this. What are we doing?
Interesting. I think that the silence of Parliament with respect to this particular issue is quite deafening. But of course, if you look at the Article 97(1)(c) of the 1992 Constitution, which prescribes this particular, statement of these 15 sittings, but then gives an exception. That is, if you have a written permission that has been granted by the Speaker. So the Speaker is very powerful with respect to the declaration of a vacancy or otherwise. I think that the allegations against the Honourable Member of Parliament, Mr. Kwame Ohene Frimpong, they are quite dire. I hope he will be able to, get himself exculpated from the whole process. Probably Parliament or the leadership seem to give him that benefit of the doubt. And that is the more reason why I believe their silence has been quite deafening. They seem to know certain things that we, the ordinary members of the public, seem not to have.
Very well, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Jonathan Asante, Professor Smasapon, I appreciate your insights.
Through the week. NDC, I told you people, you have never done this before. This is the first time you are doing it. You see how it is. Then next time you respect MPP, who have gone through it in 1992. They've gone through it in 1996. They've gone through it in 1998. They've gone through it in 2007. They've gone through it in 2023. You see how it is. It's not easy. But that's how you build a sustainable political party. You are going to go through it. I said, what are you talking about? Me, I came from a Oyoko family. I came from nothing. Then another breath, he says, I'm the fifth of 9 children, so I learned how to work. I learned how to work on my desk, and I learned how to listen. Johnson, I said, is talking. So, Kwesi Pratt, everything is beautifully carved out now. We all now know where this matter is going. Let's end that story. It's 19 minutes past the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. Let's move on quickly. There is another story here from Ashanti region, and I met some people on the street, and they were telling me that I had been very harsh on the regional minister. What's his name? Kwame, Dr. Ohene, that I was very hard on him about his wife paying to deliver a baby in America. I'm hearing from a latest video popping up that the event was not in America, it was actually in UK. I'll show you that video. It's a very laughable video. It's from a TV station in Kumasi, where Amoakohene's public relations head was on television and was explaining the circumstance that led to the regional minister to have a child abroad. His explanation actually made it worse, completely worse. But I'll share with you, and then you can see where we are. So, do you have the photograph side by side? I just want to pull it up. I wanted Amoakohene. Oh, you don't have it. My goodness. Okay. But you have Amoakohene's photograph. Let me take text messages, and I'll come to you. I'll come to you in a minute. Yeah. Ella, so tell us, what are people saying?
Right, so people seem to be very excited about the show because AD says, if it's not that election in this country has become cheap, how would someone like Ato Forsen and Asiedun Ketia ever think of contesting for presidential primaries in their party and eventually become the president of Ghana? Because of them, if somebody like JDM, who is displaying total incompetence in all his tenure in office as a president, why can't they also lead the country as president? Hadia Z says, I think Kwesi Pratt is right to some extent because you cannot see presidential material in any one of them. When you lie your way into government, this is what happens. The NDC is in a serious leadership crisis. That is why none of them is talking about the 24-hour economy, i.e. one job, 3 shifts. Also from Anasco, he says, presidential material, I don't blame them. I rather blame Musa Dankwa. February says, why should government appointees pay or sponsor an event organization before an award is awarded to him or her, if indeed he or her has performed credibly? Dr. White's allegation of extortion from his colleague government appointees before big events Ghana awarding them is a serious allegation of corruption and bribery, so Ghanaians should expect the government or presidency to establish an inquiry committee to probe the allegations instead of the directive for the awardees to return the awards and also refrain from collection of unquestionable awards. Lastly, from Nano Wusi, he says, Paul, I think the government should be bold enough to implement the Odao River Development Plan, which includes a Thames River-style embankment to provide water transport with boats, etc., water treatment plants, shops, restaurants, and hotels. Again, they should invest in modern drainage systems and water reservoirs across the country. We should gradually retire the colonial water infrastructure and sewage facilities like dam polytanks, etc. What do you have for us?
Thank you so much, Ella. On the discussion with Kwame on the human resource, General E.O. Coleman says, human resource issues have been long misunderstood, undervalued, and given far less attention than they deserve, especially within government institutions. Yet, people are the greatest assets of any organization. When employee welfare, performance management, training, motivation, and accountability are neglected, institutional effectiveness suffers. Ali Sisi Nuhu Banda says, HR is one of the most important departments that need competent and humble personnel to manage. Away from that, Sami Bwashi says, Ghanaians do not want to hear blame. We gave this current administration an overwhelming vote. So, Mahama, if you think the system is broken, fix it and spare us the long talks. His regards to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the next president. Coming from DG World, he says, it has always been Alabi, but I think it has been overshadowed. He has been overshadowed by the rest because he came in late. The truth is, Alabi is phenomenal. The man transformed University of Professional Studies Accra, but you know Ghana, it's all about who shares the money. And lastly, coming from Adansiba Ofori Ajiman on Kwesi Pratt's damning verdict, he says Kwesi Pratt talked directly to Asiedun Ketia and stop passing through the corners. What do you have for us, Anziba?
Thank you very much, Ikia. Coming from Nana Ikia, she says, "Good evening, Ghana is active." David Seidu says, "Great job, my boss." Daniel Sekufi says, "Human Resource Department is the reason for small salaries in Ghana." Jude Obri says, "Watching live from Konongo, I am always high-spirited on Tuesdays and Thursdays. God bless you, Apostle Paul, and your disciples. At this point in Ghana, we need a candidate who will fight for Galamsey fiercely." Alexander says, "Paul, your work is better than News 360. And Nana also is saying, "Greetings from the UK." He continues to say, "The government uses sensational tactics to mask off their incompetence. So far, they are just dancing around the bush and using social media as their outlets." Kofi Ewusi says, "Great submission, and you said it all." Daniel Ahiabo says, "I'm enjoying your program, Mr. Paul. In fact, you are my role model." Frederick Kwame says, "Hi, Paul. Thank you for the good job you are doing. You are doing really well." Ifo Nebuchadnezzar says, "Kwesi Pratt is inclined to Haruna Idrisu." Abubakar Possible says, Uncle Kwesi Pratt just spray the stubborn mosquito." And lastly, coming from Master Planner Jr. from Kintampo, he says, "Uncle Kwesi Pratt didn't try at all. He's referring to Asiedu Inketia. We, the supporters of the general, will take him on. He should get his lawyers ready." Over to you, Paul.
Thank you very much and welcome back to the show. Politics is an interesting thing, isn't it? You want to do politics, be careful. Frank Amakoyini says that his wife delivered in America, and then he's been taken on, not just by us, but by everyone, that, you're a minister, you work in a hospital, your wife works there, and then you go and deliver in America, and you are wasting taxpayers' money, and because you have money, because you're a government appointee, this is not your first child. Did you deliver the other children in America? He has nothing to say. Then he sent somebody on television, his PRO, to go and spew something, and viewers, I'll show it to you what he said. The guy had such a bizarre story. And I've just been looking at social media. Somebody has written a very appropriate response for him, and we'll be looking at it. But anyway, let's get this. You see, when we started talking about Amakohene, people thought that we are shouting on young children and trying to intimidate their age. And he came out and said he's 36 and he's very successful because he has a government appointment. He has a certificate, one certificate of medicine, he has it. And they say, I don't know what the certificate, whether it's the medical school, I know level 200 to level 700. But these days, there are many ways in which you become a doctor. It doesn't matter. But he says he has a certificate. And so he's very proud of himself. We told the NDC that this guy is going to create a problem for you. This guy is so disingenuous. This guy is dishonest. I mean, this guy is just about social media. That's all he is. He was even ranting about painting, what do they call it, under bridge overpass, until he was told by the Ashanti region people that these bridges and overpasses that you are painting and making a lot of capital, social capital about it, they were constructed by your opponents. So wait till your government constructs something, then you can paint it and make noise about it. For now, if you paint it, you're just enhancing what the opponents did, which is part of your work. So say it like that Akufo-Addo built the interchange and I'm enhancing it. That John Ejekun Kufuor built an interchange and I'm enhancing it. He didn't listen. He went wild, excited about social media. Today, Bongo Ideas is talking about him, that he should be one of the ministers, should be reassigned. Bongo Ideas is an NDC person, he's not an MPP person. Ralph is an NDC person, he's not an MPP person. But of course, data, if we can rely on it, speaks better than everyone. Here is data. Musa Dankwa, who is NDC, is not MPP, Musa Dankwa is NDC. He has published posts and says that in Ashanti region, the NDC's popularity of 30% at the time of the last voting has now shrunk to 18%. I can assure you, viewers, that if Musa Dankwa's post is anything to be relied upon, it is the dereliction of Frank Amakohene that has brought the NDC from 30% to 18%. We are seasoned political analysts. Yes, I can say that. I'm a seasoned political analyst. I've been doing it for 25 years. You can read my book. So I'm seasoned political analyst, okay? And I noticed that this guy is going to collapse the NDC in Ashanti region. And the NDC people thought that it doesn't matter. How can you be a regional minister and go and do fashion parade and be working at regional minister? You can attend the fashion parade and give a speech and give a policy about how you want to help the people who are doing fashion to get to the walkways of Paris and the walkways in Munich and the walkways in London. You can go to the fashion with a mindset to assist them that tomorrow, when their names are called, they will no longer be Kumasi and Ashanti region fashion designers, but they will be global. That is the work of the policy maker, and that's why the taxpayer pays you. They don't pay you to go and wear some of the fashion and do the catwalk and pretend that everything is a joke. If you do that, the serious people will move you from your 30%, which was a bonus, which you got because of economic situation in Ghana, 30%, and a lot of lies and propaganda told during the election. Your 133, that nobody talks about. For the last 6 months, no minister has ever said 133. And I'm doing an algorithm. I'm looking at speeches of ministers and speeches of the president. We'll finish in about September. We'll come and show you. Please, not that because I've said it, they will now start saying it. It will show that they started saying it from June or July. So you will see, when you look at it, you will laugh. You will see that the 133 is not in anybody's speech, from Gold Board to Ministry of Finance to the Office of the President, Ministers of State. Nobody talks about that anymore. And these are the things that occasioned the 30% in Ashanti region, an area where NDC should normally not do that much. Now that 30%, because of a derelict minister, they are on 18%, according to NDC poster. According to the NDC poster, NDC's popularity in Ashanti has come from 30% to 18% because of the dereliction of this man called Frank Ohene. He's disrespectful to his elders, which you cannot do in Ashanti and many parts of Ghana. Our culture does not allow that. He's extremely disrespectful. He thinks he has money, so he doesn't respect anybody. How he got the money, we don't know. Only God knows. But he thinks he's rich. So when you go to Kwase, he was car 36, so he thinks that he just is all over his head. He's disrespectful to everybody. He sat there when the whole Asante was complaining about the ugly conduct of a Bono regional minister who is his colleague. He didn't say anything about it publicly. He did nothing about it. He's so disrespectful. He's derelict. He doesn't even know his work. He's an empty head. He doesn't know his work. He doesn't know the work. And then he takes taxpayers' money, flies abroad to go and have his child in America, such that senior professors are now talking about it. Very senior people at the Confanosis Hospital are complaining about it. That is Frank Ohene, the man who was given a privilege at 36 to be a minister of Ashanti region, and within 1 year, 6 months, he has dropped Ashanti region's NDC's popularity from 30% to 18%, such that Ralph, a key and principal NDC activist, goes to Kumasi and tells him before the rubbish in Kumasi that you are doing nothing. You are doing nothing in the region. This is the nature of these kinds of people. Empty barrels, they call them. They make the most noise. Didn't we hear that when we were growing up? Empty. When my teacher in class 3 says, empty barrels, then the whole class makes the most noise. So he said, keep quiet. Don't be an empty barrel. That was in class 3. Class 4, the same thing. When the teacher walks in and we are talking, you know how children we talk, we are 9 years old, we are happy, we are talking. The teacher walks in and says, empty barrels. Then we are all embarrassed. Then we all say, makes the most. He says, say it again. Then we say, make the most noise. The teacher will say, say it louder. Then we say, make the most noise. Then we keep quiet. Empty barrel. This empty barrel, he makes the most noise. Look at the data. 30% to 18% for John Mahama's NDC because of this empty barrel in Ashanti region. This empty barrel who takes taxpayers' money, $60,000, carries his wife to go and have what I am understanding is a 3rd or 4th child. When he was 32 and he was working and he had children, was he able to buy tickets to go abroad? Now he's become government. So taxpayers are always at the mercy that we pay the taxes and then he takes it. In fact, people who have paid more taxes than him to the government's chest, to the government's exchequer, those who have paid more taxes than him, he insults them and he disrespects them. That's Frank Ohene. He insults them, he disrespects them. And so that is where he is. He's forgotten that you
Sema a course so FA Asante Achem North MP City MP Freno Ohene Kwame Frimpong ni detain and detain US and Nintia OPM ewo parliament no amasisia speaker of Bagbin ɛka sɛ ne sia no ne absenteeism no ɛdɔɔso nti no ɔnkyɛ permission ɛmfa mbra sɛ watu kwan anaasɛ biribi saa abusua subscribe a no subscribe no wahyɛ no wahit notification bell no so ama yɛ na nsɛm yi ba political headline so a ne de bi aba abɛdɔ mu yɛda mo ase